Chong the Nomad in the house. Well, in your
So
house.
weird hearing you call me that.
I know. Alda. How is that? Is that weird for other people to like that know you to like? Do they call you Chong now? Or are you just still like Alda? Like what?
I'm
what's
super
it kind of been?
used to it online. I'll say that. I've been going as Chong the Nomad since I was, I just turned 15. I really wanted to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender online on some forum, and Chong the Nomad was the moniker I used.
Yeah.
And so I'm super used to it seeing it online, but hearing it out loud, it's like, that's wrong. Still, to this day. And I'm getting better at it. I'll tell you that. But I'm just being honest with people. I'm just like, call me Alda. Just, it's a thing.
Right. It's like a moniker, it's kind of nice, I imagine, too, to have that kind of other persona that you can kind of launch into when
it's
you're
funny.
making music. And, we were kind of interested by that whole idea.
How did Chong the Nomad grow from an online moniker, talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, into what it's become today? What was that journey like?
For sure. Thank you for asking that instead of how I got the stage name, because that's a Google search away now. But yeah, wow. I'm all about sticking to your all people grow and change over time, but I feel like sticking to what your origin is, that. Yeah, that's a big thing for me. I'm the type of person to not want to change my Instagram icon till there's a reason to, And the very first meeting I had with my manager, Austin, he asked me, "Do you want to stick with this name?" And I had to think it over for 3 minutes. Am I going to be 33 and am I going to be really annoyed that people are calling me this minor character from a cartoon? And you know what? That show meant a lot to me when it came to writing music. It made me want to become a film composer someday. Obviously, I'm not doing that now, but I want to pay tribute to that. So no matter what. So
that's amazing. Yeah.
When I decided to continue with the electronic music, I was like, you know what? I've been going as this since I was 15. I've been making music under this moniker since I was 15. On Tumblr and shit. But is cussing okay on this?
Oh, absolutely it is. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
So I decided that I'm just gonna remain loyal to that.
Yeah, for sure. That is
regardless of any confusion
show.
that happens. Oh God, it's
100%.
Pretty much perfect.
It's kind of I always think about those shows that are, or not just shows in general, but pieces of art, what qualifies as a masterpiece of its kind, and as far as television shows, one of my top favorite masterpieces, I would say I would qualify as is Breaking Bad, right? I've seen Breaking Bad 3 times now. You know what I mean? It's always good, always a masterclass in acting every single episode. But then there's different mediums too, and it seems like there's a general consensus with people of our generation that Avatar: The Last Airbender, the original one, was the formative thing for us, for so many people at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I can go on about it as well. It's just I already went off about that show during my formative years. So I'm not going to do that during this podcast, but yes, I agree. I rewatched it during the pandemic with my partner, and
nice.
I just realized, I was like, oh wow, this was such a big part of my childhood, and unfortunately a big part of my teenage years as well.
Big
all
part of your
consuming.
adulthood, big part of your midlife.
Yeah. So, but I think the cycle of art and influence is beautiful in that way, though. So,
what specifically were some things from that show that made you want to take that into your own professional career?
Oh wow.
Just off the top of your,
yeah,
there's so much about it, but yeah.
I tell people all the time that I would take my dinky electronic keyboard in 8th grade down to the living room from my room and place it in front of the TV, replay whatever I have the whatever recorded episode I had and like try to learn the score by ear and like transpose it for a keyboard, and because I loved it so fucking much, and like Jeremy Zuckerman and the track team, they killed it on that shit. Like, yes, the show was created by two white guys, and the score was created by two white guys as well. But damn fucking hell, they did grand job. They did a grand job, and a lot of there's a story about the finale, the last 4 episodes, where they didn't have the budget to have like a huge orchestra, right? They don't. There was no. They were using a lot of electronic sounds, a lot of sound libraries, really good ones, but they had really good taste. But they really wanted an orchestra for that finale, so they did this whole pitch for the Nickelodeon president or whatever, and at the end of it, he just kind of sort of like leaned back and went, give these guys an orchestra. And so I guess that passion that they had for like I always consider that every like factor of that show is perfect. Like animation, voice acting, like they had top tier everything. It was a team effort, but like the music especially, man, like that was my study shit too, growing up too. So like I know a lot of like, I don't want to be like, I know every note, I know every cue.
It sounds like you kind of did. I mean, you were going down to learn the score at 15.
Yeah. And I'll condense the teenage story a little bit from like when I was on Tumblr. I would, for the newer series, The Legend of Korra, I would take snippets from the show and remix them on Fruity Loop Studio. And that kind of took off a little bit. I gained a decent following from that, and I was like, oh, this music thing, it's achievable. So
was that like your first taste of like some success?
Big time. Like people were actually paying money to buy my music. And
there you go.
Like,
that feels
even the
good.
music that wasn't related to Avatar, like they purchased it, and I was like, okay, cool. Validation for once.
Yeah.
And I was still making shit on FL. Like I wasn't making anything special. I was just it wasn't like, I say that now, but like really though, it was a time where I'd show my music to my closest friends in high school, and their reaction would be like, cute. And nothing else.
That's such an odd feeling. Like the internet definitely allows like that whole like having your friends come see your art can be a very wonderful thing, and it can also be a bit soul crushing because like there's no guarantee that they're going to be the kind of person who's going to like Breaking Bad or Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like these are shows that are, you know, universally liked. However, like the percentage of the people in the world who actually watch it, actually enjoy it, is still super low. And so even like a masterpiece of something, like there's only going to be a very small percentage of the just population who are really going to enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is. And you're taking a really big chance having like, you know, your select 5 people come to your show. It's like great to have them support you. And if they are really into it, fantastic. But
it's truly the artist's
chances are
dilemma.
They may just be like, that's cute. That's good job. You know,
are you willing to take this crushing blow to your ego to further? Like you gotta accept that at one point. Like you just gotta accept it. Like I'm terrified showing my music to my partner because I'm like I trust your and value your opinion so much.
Right.
But it's her decision whether she likes it or not, and like that's fine if she doesn't. So like.
So do you like wait to just not like? Do you wait then to release the music first and let it out there, and then let your partner hear that, or does she end up sometimes listening in, or what? Like, how is that?
I bump my shit so loud that like it doesn't matter. I did a remix for Death Cab for Cutie, and I was like 80% sure that she hated it at the end because it was just Ben Gibbard's voice throughout our household, like just a 10-second loop over and over and over and over again. So
I can see how that
I don't blame her if like something that she's heard like a muffled version for 10 hours straight, and I finally show her the full thing and she's like, and that's it. That's fine. That's fine. That's
so
fine.
you're done with it, right? You're done with the song now? You can finish the song?
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's so loud that it doesn't even matter. But I do have like my 3 people circle that I show like preview stuff to, and like
Yes.
I can gauge. I made my younger sister swear to me that if I ever made something whack, she would just straight up tell me. That hasn't really happened yet, but nice. I need that reassurance.
That's an important distinction, you know what I mean, between close friends, like there's close friends, and then kind of comrades in your craft that like a select few people that like, you know what my brand, you know my passion, my art, my where I want to go. If I'm not going that direction, I need you to help me actually get that direction, right? And it is a kind of an interesting thing because it's like a Venn diagram, I guess, of, you know, some of them intersect, some of them don't, or whatever, but they're important nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, no, exactly. It's funny because like I always considered Alexa, that's her name, my younger sister. She's the middle one, and I'm the oldest, and we have a youngest sister. But she just has like the best music taste out of all of us, and people are surprised. Are like, "Aren't you the DJ?" And I'm like, 50% of my sets are like based off of music that she's shown me, and it's just
wow.
Yeah, no, like it's the people around you that are your biggest influencers. So it's
absolutely 100%. You know,
yeah, it definitely like takes a village, I'd say, to like really craft something. And I found that I have to like, for my process, I like need to collaborate. Like doing stuff on my own, I can only get so far, and then like I really start needing feedback, and that's how I know how to grow the work. But
oh, bro, I had a huge like gap of writer's block like last winter. Or I mean, are we still in winter? Well, it's still winter. Time means nothing. But
it's a construct.
But yeah, like last October, November, I didn't want to touch my laptop at all. I didn't want to touch music, and I had someone come to me and was like, "Can you do a remix for me?" And I actually just announced it yesterday. It's really
sick.
February 26th. I don't know when this podcast is out. Coming out, but
we'll launch it as soon as we can. We can try to get that going on.
Dope. But
I don't want to put a fire into Nick's butt, but we can try to get that out.
You're good, man. You're good. But she sent me, and I was like, I'm going through a rut right now, but just send me what you have, send me the stems, and let me see what I can do with it. And the lyrics, she's goes by Dressage, and she's just a monster singer-songwriter producer that I respect so much, and the lyrics really freaking hit me. It's just all about like how did I become this person that I just don't like anymore? And I was feeling that. And so
nice, fun, happy song, you know.
I mean, I kind of made it into like this crazy dancey tune and just tried to purge everything that I've been feeling for like the last year into it, and it was really freeing. So yeah, collaboration. Sick. Man.
I love those dichotomic, I probably fucked that word up, but the
dichotometric.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, see, that's why we keep them around. But like the more like heartfelt, the dealing with heavy stuff, lyricism put in with like dance music or like, you know, just letting it out in this kind of fun. It's so interesting. It reminds me of this
sad dance tunes that are the hits. But yeah, keep going.
Right. Well, there's this one guy. He's Belgian. His name's Stromae, like that I've heard before.
Yeah.
Dude, Laurent Dance or something like that is such a great song, and it's all about like there's all this shit in the world, all this going on, people are unhappy and everything. So we dance, and then we're just it's
like
such a bop.
Another hit of his is just like, "Where's my fucking dad?" And I'm like,
can't relate.
Yeah, no, it's just that's the beauty of like electronic dance music is just that you are kind of just able to write whatever you want, but at the end of the day, when people respond to is true expression, and people love to dance to raw like shit. you know, like I think, I mean, even there's that song that Skrillex produced for Justin Bieber, the "Where Are You Now That I Need You." It's heartbreaking. Like, you read the lyrics and you're like, oh man. Wow. And the other one that he produced for him, the dun, 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 I forget. Fuck. What do you mean? Like, when you read those lyrics, it's like, oh shit, he was going through some fucked up relationship, probably. Like, yeah, it's reading deeper into the dance lyrics kind of freaks you out sometimes, because it's like
for sure
a way different headspace than you expect. But
right. For someone that's like being introduced to like dance music, electronic dance music, you know, it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then you're like, oh, this is about dealing with my depression. Okay. Whoa, this hits me. This is hitting me even deeper. Like, I'm feeling the dance move in a different way.
Off topic, but there's this like meme of that Marge Simpson like getting down, but the caption is, when you're in the club and and you're trying to dance, but the lyrics get misogynistic. Oh yeah, this is my. Let me just pop it low, and then, oh god, I'm not your bitch.
Right.
I miss dancing to misogynistic music. Who am I saying?
Right.
Oh my god. Well, I think my like first deep dive into electronic music came in college. I was going through a breakup as well, and it was it was like Childish Gambino, and his the song "Sober" was like hitting me so hard, and then I like delved into The Weeknd, and just like that was also hitting me hard, just like, and that's just all about like heartbreak and, you know, drug use and crazy, like you know, just going deeper into the hole. And like I was just like, wake up in the morning, take a shower, bop that on, and I'm like in the shower, like, yes. No.
Now I'm so high. Yes. That's so funny you say that, because I made like a small remix of that I still use for like festival shit these days. I'll share it with y'all.
I would love to hear that. Yeah.
It's a oldie, but
oldie but a goodie.
I made that the first time I ever consider, like, we're going into like some deep shit, sorry,
Let's
but
go
like
there. No,
I'm
great.
only human, but like that was like the first night. I don't even think I've told anyone this, but it was the first night where I considered cheating on my then girlfriend, and I had to like leave in a 4 a.m. Uber. I was like, who the fuck are you now? And then I was just like, okay, let me make this. And then the next day I was just thinking about this girl that like really fucked up like everything that I wanted for my future.
All the mojo is gone.
I ended up breaking up with her anyway, but like that was a catalyst moment for me. And then I did this remix because like that song, I connected with it so much, and the lyrics, and I'm so red right now admitting that, but like you guys are getting the juicy shit today. But
hell yeah,
that was the first remix I made, and I'm bringing back my younger sister into this. I showed it to her, and she was like, this was the first time she told me, like, did you make this? And like looked at me like, did you make this? This is you. And I don't want to say that emotional strife brings out the best art all the time, but
no, not all the time.
But it can inform.
It can really be wonderful.
It can. It definitely can. Right. It, especially those incredibly vulnerable moments. You know, when you think that everything's going the way that you want, and then just something sideswipes you.
Yep.
And
I was so happy at that point in my life. Like I
feel like that what it brings about is I always like, if I'm going through that strife and making art, there's this like nothing to lose attitude, right? Because I feel like sometimes the major blockage that can stop people from making art is like, oh, it has to be good. It has to be, you know, at a certain level. Like I have to keep progressing. Like I need to use, and when you delete all that editor stuff, and Strife can definitely do that. Now you're making it for you. You're making it so that you feel a certain way. You're just making it becomes this like purified thing, just like
hell yeah.
Coming out of the chaos comes this beautiful like flower that just is it's a flower and it's there because I made it. Yeah. So
yeah, and I wouldn't even consider that remix. Like I didn't like it was just a weird freaking night. Like I didn't do anything with this girl and I was like, okay, I just have to leave this place and but
right.
And it's funny because eventually I felt really cocky about that remix and sent it to like a bunch of blogs and got 0 response from it. But that was a big step on like how I use to get like super techie with it, like on how I use compression and what percussion that I like to use and how I like to modify my percussion in my music. And those are still things that I use to this day.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Art's fucking weird.
Art is weird. It's weird. Like that's weird that the Strife brought about a use of technicality that you weren't privy to before. That's crazy. Were you just using like stock stuff, or were you like just like stress buying different plugins and then like found the right thing?
Oh god. So like not stress buying plugins. I was just using all this I use Camel Crusher a lot to saturate my sounds, and that was when I kind of realized I could just use it on everything, and that's why I didn't before, and that's why my shit always sounded mid. But but being very intentional about how and what settings that I should use and how I should crush a sound and how what is it about this particular clap that makes it that turns you into goo.
What is the inspiration part of it?
Exactly. It made me really think about that because I wanted what I was hearing, the chaos in my head. I wanted to hear that finally. I wanted to like translate that so bad because I was just
right.
But yeah, and it worked out, and it's kind of funny timing too because it was like, man, that was January 2017, so it was like my last semester of our senior year, right?
Yeah, that's right, man.
Look at us now.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
1 year into a pandemic later.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I always am amazed by time and how like relationships come and go, how they affect you, what impact they make on you and your art. And and it's funny because for acting work, it's like the outlet that I mainly use if I'm really feeling something that hit me, I mainly journal, right? But if I also, the reason why I journal is like for acting work, it's like, okay, I'm saving this experience. I'm like putting it in the bank of experiences that I've had. So I can be able to put them out when I'm doing a character that needs that experience, right? And I remember having that feeling once where it was a dear friend of mine. It was also a relationship, and we were really close. We were like firecracker right at the beginning of it, where it was like nothing can go wrong,
Yeah.
And then I woke up one day and I was like, oh my God, all the love is gone. And it was that like I had to leave and like know what that was, and it took me a long time to even get to the bottom of it, which I'm still getting to the bottom of now. It's always stuff that we work on, but it is one of those things that right, you have that and you're like, this is a pure moment of human experience, and I know that someone else has felt this too. That's the beauty of it, right? And then it's like, okay, so I can use this to like, I'll put this over here for a minute, take care of that. You got to do it, healthily, whatever that means. But, that hit deep, didn't it? For all of us. But then you can use that for your art later on. And so someone else can see that, hear that, feel that, experience that, and say, oh my God, that's my experience.
Exactly.
Oh, exactly. I'm not alone, It's beautiful.
Yeah. It harkens back to that, like, that saying of like, the more specific you are, the more specific you'll be. And then also the more universally accepted and
Yes.
relatable you'll be. So it's like
Yes.
the more
Dude.
you are just focused on your exact unique world, like you're only one of you and only you going through this exact thing, and the more you hone in on the very specifics of it, the more every other person in the world can actually relate to you.
That's some fucking truth. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, no. I had nothing to add on that. I was
You're just riding the wave.
It's funny
Oh, yeah.
because like my most successful song, it was really specific, and it wasn't like a emotionally like pivoting moment or anything for me. I was
Sure.
just really high in my shower, and I thought I heard someone sing back to me when I was singing, and I was like, oh, there's a fucking ghost in my shower, man. And that, like, the glass broke, and I was like, that's the most excellent song idea in the world. And I ended it there and wrote the entire song in 3 hours. But it's so specific. It's so specific, but it's somehow using that, like,
but everyone's had that experience. When I listen to that song, I think about when I was a kid. I was like 13 years old, taking a shower, and I was like vibing, also singing in the shower, and I like was quiet for a second, and I felt like I had braces at the time, and I felt like they were picking up the radio. Like I literally could hear other voices in my mouth singing to me.
Oh, that's
and then
so
I was like,
trippy.
is it Ghost? Is it this? But like that moment is what I relate to when I listen to Ghost
Oh
in the
my God,
shower of
that
like
makes me
my
so
braces
happy.
singing to me, you know?
That was also
That makes
Nick's
me so happy
tinfoil
to hear.
hat days, you know. So quite an interesting time. You should let him tell you about it. But
For sure.
Weirdly, that wasn't what they bullied me for in middle school. So,
It was another thing.
oh my god. So
It's funny. Keep going.
we're getting into it. We're getting in deep. So you're still in Seattle now, right? You're over there?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Where are you guys at?
Man, we're all over. Well, Nick's
I'm
close
in,
by.
I'm close by. I'm just a little south. I'm in Portland. And,
for sure.
yeah, Warren is.
I am not close by. I'm actually over in Georgia now.
You're in Georgia.
Isn't that crazy? Atlanta. Yeah.
That's insane, man.
It's been a crazy ride. We haven't caught up in a long while. So
I think I saw you last at Tree Fort.
Yeah, Tree Fort. We were back in Idaho, so that was sick. I was so over the moon when I saw your name on there because I was like kind of on like a date with someone, and
Oh, for sure.
I was like, "Oh, here's a flex. I know this person." Okay, you know. See this person that's on, featured artist Tree Fort and stuff like that. We're friends. We kick it. So the date didn't really go that well, but it was still good seeing you. So
That's so good to hear. Yeah, that was just one of the funnest weekends of my life.
isn't that crazy? I mean, that also feels like so long ago. That feels like another world ago, doesn't it?
When was
God.
when was that festival?
2019 or something. Like,
Okay.
Whole nother world ago.
Wow. That is,
I was supposed to
giant.
play again not this year. It was supposed to be last year.
right.
And I'm
Speaking
not
of
gonna
that,
talk
Alda,
about
so what?
Yeah, what's up?
Do you have people contacting you about future dates right now, or is everyone still on hold when it comes to like waiting on what the next thing is to do?
Pretty not exactly on hold. A lot of people have reorganized and pivoted.
Yes. Yes.
So Tree Fort is a good example. Great example. Like it's like one of the best festival experiences I've had. But they had to like and they did some live streams. I did one with them. I did a DJ set. That was great. And it wasn't great. It had a lot of tech issues, and YouTube is awful with copyright issues.
Awful. Yes.
But it's fine. I got through it. And yeah, it's just a lot of pivoting. Like now I'm just going through all the like opportunities that I had set up. Like I was gonna do Queer Pride in Capitol Hill.
Oh, sick.
That's the best.
And
That's
I
the
think
best
I
pride
was
ever.
the same day as Cupcake was headlining. And I would have like I like to say that I'm like a Tasmanian devil on stage or whatever, and I black out for an hour and come back into my space once I finish playing. But that I would have I don't know, I probably would have crowd surfed. I haven't crowd surfed yet, but I would have crowd surfed.
Oh yeah.
But for them, I had to pivot. There's been a lot of like, at first, a lot of people did a lot of live streaming, but thankfully there's been like a switch to pre-recorded where you can actually kind of just have fun with it, make it more music video oriented. It's really hard when you don't have a budget,
right?
But you get to be a little bit more creative. It takes the pressure off with all the tech and stuff.
Seriously.
Yeah, but then again, I had an opportunity like 2 days ago where I did a corporate DJ live hybrid gig, and it was fun. But it's as for future dates, unfortunately, those are just getting like Treefort's a good example. Those just keep getting
push back,
extended. I was supposed to do Summer Meltdown in Darrington, and I haven't even heard from them. So,
right.
Yeah,
it's so weird being in this new world, basically, of like, where are we moving next to? Like, we're trying to get back to normal, but then we're also not at all. Like, we're also totally standstill. Everybody has a whole different perspective and way of how to go about things. It's just kind of mind blowing. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're the first to leave and last to come back, which is what everyone's been saying, and it's heartbreaking every time someone mentions that. I'm like, you're right. It's the most super spreader industry.
It is.
It's just so like you can't. Yeah, and it's just our responsibility to hold back till the last possible moment. So it's fine. It's fine.
Yep. But see, that does make me. I mean, you can bet your ass though that first EDM concert back, it's gonna be
wild.
I always joke that like the first like Coachella Lollapalooza, like you're just gonna walk into a tent and everyone's like fucking, or like everyone's making out, like and you just slowly walk out like, okay, maybe not that maybe this tent, and everyone there is just like dry humping each other. It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be like, I already thought some festivals were ridiculous, but
right.
Yeah, on another level, we gotta overcorrect. That's
there's gonna be some sort of overcorrection. And
then okay, I'm gonna lock myself in an apartment for 6 months. Let's see, all right, now or like a year and a half, and then now I'm going out and I'm just gonna have sex with everyone.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, dude, I remember like before the pandemic was even a thing, NASA was gonna like pay someone to stay in bed and watch TV for like 6 months, and they were gonna have to pay them like $60,000 or something to do that because no one wanted to just sit in bed and watch TV.
Yeah,
no one wanted to do it, and now we all had to do it, and we didn't get paid. And
bullshit.
Yeah,
that's
BS.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. Fuck a stimmy. Where's our $60,000 check?
Yeah, come on, NASA. Let's go.
You're damn straight.
I've got your case study right here. You can have my blood.
You
can take a tooth. Just give me the $60,000.
My journal entries are fucked up. Okay, you got some material to work with. Okay.
Fuck, man.
I don't really know how much research can be done with them, but there are at least some data.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, Nick. I didn't know that about the NASA thing.
Yeah, and it might not have been $60,000, but they were paying a good wage, NASA wage, for someone
I heard
just
inklets of that like February 2020 or something like that, like right before, right?
Right before.
Yeah. Yep, it was right before.
How much would you take to do that pre-COVID, of course, like to just sit in your bed, just watch TV for 6 months, half a year? How much money would you take?
I mean, now it's tough to say because now I feel like, I would have done it anyway. But back then, like it's what's happened, back then I probably would have taken it just at the same wage I'm making at my job now, right? Like it's instead of entering in numbers and calling people, like it'll be just, just watching Ben and Jerry.
Binging Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Binging some Netflix.
Catching up on Avatar: The Last Airbender, watching that.
Exactly. Rewatch that again.
On repeat.
Exactly. I delve in. But now, like, if they had a new one, like, post-pandemic, spend another 6 months once everyone is out, I would not do it for $1 million, probably, you know?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good question.
Yeah, like, what would it take?
Even like seven, 8 figures, that maybe 8 figures. 8 figures, that's life-changing money. 7 figures, it's like, you know, I'm fine.
Been there, done that, right? So, I don't know. You gotta up the ante for me, okay? Make something.
Do I want to step into the orgy tent, or do I want to?
Exactly.
You know, the orgy tent does sound kind of nice the more we talk about it. You know,
it just sounds gross whenever I say it out loud, man. I'm just like, oh, like
I feel like Coachella is going to be not the nicest orgy tent out there. I'll be honest. Like, it's going to be like 95 degrees. Like, there's going to be like, you know, like cough syrup, and, you know, it's just going to be like weird, gross. You know,
nobody's gonna. It's like gonna be the first one, right? It's like the first pancake.
Yeah.
You always throw
There's
out.
There's gonna be too many dream.
They're all too tired. You know what I mean? They haven't done this a lot, so they're like, oh, I'm exhausted. Oh my god!
I'm just afraid the dream catchers are gonna like capture everything, and then where is that dream catcher going to go from that tent from there? And what kind of dreams are you gonna have if that's the kind of catcher you're rocking? I guess that would be a valuable dream catcher for some people.
Agreed.
Coachella orgy tent dream catcher.
There we go.
Put it on eBay. Make a buck.
Can you put that as one of your album titles someday? Coachella.
Fuck yeah.
Wait, what was it? Coachella orgy tent dreamcatcher. That's an interesting.
That's a good one. Right now, my ridiculous like dream mixtape title is "Peg Your Boyfriends," but that's a good second place.
That is a fantastic title.
That's been like number one.
It's encouraging good behavior. So
it's an anthem. Absolutely.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh my god. Oh, Alda, it's so good catching up with you, homie. It's nuts. Y'all. Yeah.
Like I already get like a serotonin jump talking to my grocery like cashier, but talking to like old Cornish buddies, like
yeah.
Shooting the shit. You see they're taking away Carrie Hall, right? Like, or are they moving everything out of Carrie Hall is what it's going on, I think.
I didn't know this.
They just made over the studio in the basement. Like, yes, dude, like, let me tell you something. I hated that room. I hated it. It was so and I couldn't put I'll send you guys an article. They wrote an article about it, but I couldn't put my finger as to why it was so and it was just it was some feng shui shit, you know, like there's a dinky couch right there for 4 people to squish on. There's a couple chairs around, and then there's this equipment that like 90% of the students don't know how to use.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed that. They painted it purple. They got rid of that couch.
Good.
Everything is so accessible and easy to like plug in and start it. And the thing is, like, the point of this article was that, and this whole shift is that music is taking such a like do it DIY, do it yourself. You can do everything electronically now.
Yep.
And that shifting more of that to that focus, because they took a survey of in the music department, and a lot of people don't feel comfortable with music technology, even though that's the fucking future.
It is the future.
And that's where everyone's going. And and now,
like it's it's super important for everyone to get their basics, of course, right? Like you need to know all your scales. You need to have your training. You need to have all the skills I'm sure that you were able to pick up there, but
exactly.
You also need to be able to produce your own music. It's just as important.
It was such a frantic realization for me that I've been using the same setup for a long time now.
Sure.
And it works for me. And I think that's just something that I feel like all big ups to Cornish. Like I'll rep I'll rep
Same.
till I die. But like
Same too. Yeah.
that was something that they just didn't push at all. It was just it was kind of more of a option.
Right.
The technology aspect of music, and I get that. I get that people want to stick to their roots and preserve, but to make this like your living now, yeah, it's like you have 17-year-olds making bedroom pop and making it work and learning like how to do it yourself, and it's just I just want to shake everyone by the shoulders. Like, you could just do it yourself. Just watch like 3 YouTube videos on how to make your voice louder. Like there was a music marketing class that or not music, it was like a career development class, yes, at Cornish, where just not to like myself, but like there was I mastered some of my friends' music pieces that they recorded inside Poncho Hall.
Right.
And motherfucker, all I did was throw in a stock plugin on Fruity Loops called Sound Goodizer on the track. And that's all I did. And like I didn't charge anyone because it's ridiculous, but like, and maybe EQ, take out some like the shitty frequencies, but
right.
A friend that I did that for presented, and Chuck Deerdorf was like, and who mastered the quality is wonderful, and he was like, oh, it was just Poncho Hall, Alda mastered it, and he was like, damn girl, and I was like, all I did was a stock plugin. How come?
Super basic.
It's not impressive at all. Why are you all impressed?
I wanted to rip my hair out. I'm like, how come everyone has shitty recordings from Carrie Hall, from Poncho, from fucking Poncho?
True that.
I can like
True that.
But yeah, music technology is the future, and we need to embrace it more.
Absolutely.
And I think that it sounds like that you're also kind of being the pioneer for that too, which is pretty awesome. I mean, it's like, maybe hopefully I'm not trying to put too much on you. I'm just saying that.
No, you're good, man.
It's just like that you were able to already come in with that, and that seemed to have just given you a leg up within your career, right?
It's, man, okay. Now I'm going to start talking a little shit.
Oh, shit.
Let's
bring the heat. Bring the heat, Alda.
Look,
Let's
man,
do it.
Because the thing is, music technology is not pretentious. It shouldn't be pretentious.
Right.
It takes a couple YouTube tutorials and you're good. Tell me why I didn't understand a lick of what anyone said throughout like my time at Cornish when it came to music technology. Like, I just hear a lot of production jargon, and it would just out the other ear, and I'm like, I've been doing this long enough that I'm terrified that I don't understand any, and it's colleagues, peers, teachers, like, I'm just like, how come I don't understand anyone? Like, this is stuff that I've been doing on Fruity Loops for a while. I just don't understand what anyone's saying about a simple reverb effect. Like, they would just over exaggerate and like way too many terms that I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. The second, like, I stepped out of that circle and talked to, like, some local producers, I competed in this beat battle called Beat Match my senior year.
Oh, sick.
And I talked to this circle of guys, like, kind of my age.
Yeah.
Some younger, some older. And all of a sudden, like, everything they talked about music production, I could understand. I was like, wait. Yes. All these years of like thinking that I needed to like level up, all these years that I thought I needed to buy better gear, all these years.
No.
The means are right in front of you, like, and just, I spent years comparing my, like, I credit Cornish a lot to like my journey as a composer.
Right.
And I wouldn't be making the music I am today if it weren't for my experience there. But goddamn, was I confused for like 4 years. I was like, should I be using Fruity Loops? Should I be even doing this? Am I out of my league here? I have no idea what you're talking.
I relate. Dude. Well, it's so funny too how I mean, like, yeah, I love college and it's cool, like to there is that nerdy level of it where we can talk about like, oh, you can get like high up in the weeds, but then like for the practical purposes of making the art, you don't have to get into this highfalutin, kind of masturbatory realm of talking about shit. You can just actually do the shit and make good stuff, make quality art. You just find there's a simple solution to this complicated problem you're making for yourself,
Exactly. And it's such a problem with like just music technology in general that people just want to keep upping the jargon and just using terms that are irrelevant and unnecessary to use in conversation when you're talking about music. At the end of the day, it's just bleep bloop. So why do we need to like overcomplicate things? But
right. No, it's true. It's true. It's that like, it's somewhat of like, it's almost like this, like this realm of maybe they're afraid that now people can make stuff in their basement. They don't have to go and learn all these really crazy terms and use really expensive gear, and all you need is a laptop and that's it. And if you want to get a little like $100 keyboard and a microphone that plugs into that exact computer, you don't need anything. You don't need a mixing board. You literally have everything right there. And maybe that scares some of those folks that have been doing this for so long and are used to that. It scares people
because it's something that it's not taught really. It's just you learn from experience.
Yep.
And that's why it's so like frustrating too, because you can't, it's grasping it. It's like you want to sound the smartest. You want to like be knowledgeable of all these terms and all these techniques, but at the end of the day, it's just doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again and knowing what sounds meld together right for your own taste, like still,
absolutely.
We're talking about music here, it's subjective, but like, just trusting your own ears.
Yes.
that takes so long. And I still don't trust them.
Yeah.
My ears are sus.
Well, there's a thing to
I don't know about you, righty. You're kind of coming in hot today. Like, like what's going on?
It makes me think about there's a distinction between, and I'm not saying that there isn't a use to it. I think there is. It's like for some of the people that just love getting into the weeds of I'm the layman of the two of you, of the three of us. Like I don't know that much about music, so you're filling me in, so I appreciate it. But for anybody like doing this kind of thing, it's like there are some people that love getting in the weeds of it, really love doing it, go to get a master's degree and then go get the PhD. Sure, awesome, right? But if you're not practicing it, I wouldn't call you a musician. I would call you a scholar, right? That's just a simple way to title it. How else do you talk about it?
Some people are really, really good at like knowing the nitty gritty about everything, and that's totally fine too.
Which is
but
cool.
Here's the thing: the people that are successful in that industry, I know what the fuck they're talking about. When they speak.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
My partner Faith put it in really good words. Like a master is someone that can teach to a beginner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like simple.
Exactly.
It's simple. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man. It's important to be able to know the shit that you're talking about, but not just know that, to be able to also tell someone that's learning it in a clear, precise, not like super dense way. Just like do this and then you'll be able to get there, right? That is the next step.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's like someone said like the highest form of knowledge or of like is teaching. Like if you're able to teach it, that means that you are completing like the final step of knowing it yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, harkening back to the ears, I want to talk about that just a little bit. So
go for it.
And your music a little bit. I'm going to pick your brain. So in your music, there's this really cool collage that you do of like real world sounds and like techno sounds, and I want to know how you go about finding those real world sounds. Like what's your process on that?
Okay. So I have a library of like 3,000 fucking drums and random shit that I found on Reddit that I've been using for like, I don't know, the last 4 years.
Nice.
And I still like haven't, like, a lot of, you guys heard of Splice?
Yes.
Yes, I don't use Splice, and that's like,
Yeah,
it's
fuck
like kind
Splice.
of like, thank you, but also no, I shouldn't say, because I
Sue
work
us,
with a lot of
Splice,
people
let's
that
go.
use Splice.
Come on.
But yes, it's just like mega sound library where sounds go in and out. People can buy people. Yeah, but
Sure.
and a lot of really really famous producers put their packs out on Splice too.
Yep.
I just don't. Sounds get regurgitated so much through that way,
Yes.
so that I tend to avoid it and kind of stick to like what I found like 4 years ago on Reddit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just works with me, especially specifically the Ninth Wonder drum kit, which it's my baby. It's just the sounds are so lovely. The acoustics are lovely and very and easy to manipulate. To the point where they sound odd. But when it comes to balancing like real life noises and whatever weird zany shit I do on FL Studio, frick, man, that's a really good question because I have just really started figuring out who I am as like a singer songwriter. I never wanted to sing. This was not the intention. I did not want people to hear my voice. God damn it. But, I just want to make beats, man. But I think a lot of the more raw sounds are from my voice, and what I do on the computer is just I've been loving using my own voice as a synth. Lately.
Cool.
I just stretch out as far as it can go and then pitch it up as high as it can go and then add reverb and fuck with the reverb and kind of just chop it up from there and see what happens. And the results are great. And the reason why it works so well for me is because I am combining those like more raw, more acoustic noises, but kind of just bending it to my will.
Yeah.
And that's what I do a lot with like any organic noises that I have. But I also it's a weakness of mine, but vocal processing is a very new thing that I'm trying to learn, and I don't use autotune. So I'm very and that's or any pitch correction. For my last EP, I sent it out stems to someone to mix my stuff for the first time, so they probably did add some pitch correction because I'm all over the place. I'm not a technically good singer, so it's been a journey, Nick. I guess.
Sure. And speaking of your voice, like I think that the not use of and there's nothing wrong with using autotune, right? But I think your lack of autotune in your tracks is a strength personally. I really like that, and it adds this like really naturalistic thing, and I think it adds to that like collage of there's these amazing like bass swells and sounds and this like but then there's also just this like this real human voice, this naturalism, and something that you also use is like you layer your voice pretty often, most of the time even, and I hear you using like really cool chords in there with them. Like, what kind of freedom do you find in layering your voice than versus how someone would just want to use like maybe one line for the melody? You use many lines.
Man, I've been waiting for this question my entire life. Not my entire life.
You heard it here, folks.
That's the thing. Exactly. That's the thing, though. So I say it a lot in interviews. My dad taught me how to listen. My mother taught me how to sing.
Nice.
And I would sit next to her during church, and she can harmonize with anything. And I think I picked up on that a bit. And so I don't have the strongest voice, but I feel like layering it, I get to kind of not hide. I mean, the more I'm putting more of my voice in, but it is kind of just being able to create these lush, like beautiful harmonies that like sometimes I get to create, and it's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And I would consider it like one of my strengths or whatever. But like
Definitely.
you get, especially like when you do some weird glisses. When I do some weird glisses in my voice, like you hear that, and that's where autotune kind of fucks things up.
Right. It doesn't
places
compensate for that.
My voice in
like,
specific places. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And exactly. But yeah,
okay.
And I guess it's so great that you mentioned that, because I don't have a lot of acoustic sounds in my work. Like a lot of it is just me pressing the down button on my keyboard and just and going through my entire library, and sometimes I hear an interesting texture and I'm like, okay, let's chop it up and see what happens here and try to create something interesting. But when I get to put my voice into it, that's where like what we were talking about, like accessibility and like reaching to other people, like that's where it kind of starts making sense. Because like I used to annoy the shit out of my manager, just throwing weird shit at him and be like, hey, this should be the next single, even though like there's no recognizable sound in it.
Right. He's like, where's the humanity? Like, yeah.
Wow. I'm like,
That's cool.
my brain is like absorbing so much right now. This is so cool to hear you guys talk about this. It's nuts.
It's
Yeah.
fun. I'm just so glad that you noticed like those layers that I put in, because it's just something I was really, really, what's the word? Shy? Yeah, I was just really shy about my voice, and you can hear that in my earlier tunes. Earlier.
Right.
But I'm getting a little bit more confident, but it's fun.
Well, it sounds great, and the shyness even works sometimes, right? So it's okay. So you collaborate a lot in your music as well. Yes. You know, songs like "Walk on Water," that's one of my favorites, and then you got like "Take Two," "Put You in the Kitchen," many more that you very successfully collaborate with people. What is that magic sauce of collaboration? Like, what steps do you usually take to ensure that this collaboration that you're doing is going to be fruitful and work out?
Fuck, man. It's funny because like the LA producer and me want to be like, oh, it's just the vibes, man. But that's true. That's true. The thing is, what I like about any art scene in general is that in order to be like completely shut people out and still be successful with the art, you have to be like a fucking masterful,
right.
But the reality is that if you're a good person to work with, you can take your career anywhere you want to go. That's, and I pre-pandemic, like I had the honor of like going to LA and being in these rooms with these crazy fucking people that like are the most talented I've ever met, but also they're just so fun to work with. Like there's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. Like I used to think that, oh, once I get into like these studio rooms, I have to like prepare 9 beats and it's gonna be super cutthroat. No, it's not like that at all. Successful studio sessions are just friends hanging out. There's a series I'm not sure if you're familiar with, Kenny Beats does on YouTube. It's called The Cave.
Okay.
And it's where he invites his friends basically, like, but artists to come in and just, he makes a beat in 10 minutes and then they either rap or sing over it in the booth. But I took a lot from that, and I was like, oh, it's just people like feeding off of their energy, getting a little stupid high, but like, you know, just it's fun. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. And I guess that's where collaborations really peak. And I would say another thing is just not caring about the outcome. A lot of the time I feel like even with like Zoom sessions nowadays, it's just we're shooting the shit. It's a lot like this. Like it's just the best material comes from just not overthinking anything and having fun.
Not like being so tight.
Exactly. It's funny that you mentioned "Put You in the Kitchen" because I was sick as a dog during that session.
Oh, really?
I was so Oh, and she was such a sweetheart too. Like Bianca, Gabby is just like just one of the craziest producers I've ever met. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm useless on this couch right now. I'll try, but it worked out great. And I just, it's the energy that you put out into a room that makes a successful collaboration. Definitely.
It's awesome. It definitely rings true for me, and I'm sure for Warren too. One of my favorite collaborations of all time was it was me, Spencer, and Warren, and we were all roommates at the time, and we just got really stoned and put on the old Pirates of Penzance movie, and we just would pause it as we went and write down a bunch of like high jokes that we were thinking and just making fun of the movie. And then all of those jokes became the script that we used, and then produced that 2 years in a row. And it was like, all of that came from just us getting stoned and watching a movie and making jokes. Right?
Yeah, making a bunch of dick jokes.
Time.
A lot of dick jokes. So
I fucking love that. I love that so much. And I also love that you said it was over 2 years.
Yeah, so we basically got at least the bones for the script and the project done that night, and then like we got into more like, then later on, woke up the next day, and if you did something really high the night before, the true sign that it's something good is when you wake up and you're sober and you read it over. It's still funny.
Such a universal art thing. Like same goes for me.
Yeah. So we were like, hey, this still works. And then they actually did it with for their senior project, and I got to be assistant director and in the cast. And then we did it on a more professional level the year after that with our company. And and again, it's just like it stems from that one time we just had a lot of fun,
Exactly.
making art together.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm in a weird spot right now where it's like I am finally getting in these rooms with like these super cool people that I never thought in a million years would invite me over to their place to write music. But like,
Sure.
The weird thing about the music. Okay, so a good example of this. I work with producer musician Roger Chahayed. Have you done any digging, Nick, on like who I've been working with lately by any chance?
I saw a little bit about the most recent one, the one that's coming out on the 26th. I saw something about that, and I tried to click on it, and then it said the pre-ad thing. So I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So I'll see it as soon as it comes out.
No, you're good. But
I don't know about
it's
this
kind
one
of a
yet.
different thing. Roger is actually a ridiculously successful producer.
Okay.
Have you heard of a song called Sicko Mode?
Yes.
Those chords at the very beginning? That's him. So I've been working with him a lot. And here's the thing. He wrote that with Hit Boy like 3 years ago. Like more than 3 years. Sicko Mode was like, 2018? They wrote that together, the first part of that beat, 2016. And he didn't hear anything from him until that thing. And like, he already had a lot of music credits before that changed his life. He had a lot of stuff with Dram. He did some stuff with Solange, but like...
Oh, I love Solange. That's
those...
awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
Solange is
it's
pretty dope.
just those... It's a waiting game in this industry that I've learned. And it's just so furious because it's like... You feel like you're so close to your big break, but in reality, it might take another 3 or 4 years for that little... that I wrote with someone to probably maybe
To make its way onto the radio.
dude, you know the song Hallelujah?
Yes.
Like, of course,
Yes.
right? It's
Yeah.
like one of the most widely known English songs ever, right?
So much. Yeah.
So there's a really good podcast episode with this guy, Malcolm Gladwell, and he was like talking about, history, like the history of it. That song had to go through so many different people and finally arrive at like the thing that brought it into the mainstream was this guy, Ted Buckley. He put out an album, right, that had the song on it. Didn't really get that, didn't get that much acclaim or anything. But then he disappeared. He just like disappeared in the woods one day. And then that album became like a huge kind of classic, like a cult classic thing. And then from there, Hallelujah just got adapted by Rufus Wainwright and all these different people. And now we know it.
Insane. That's fucking insane. I'm
That's
just
what
gonna
you have
like
to do.
disappear from the face of the.
Yeah. You know what?
Like,
I bet he
okay,
sold his
bye.
soul to the devil.
He might have.
I bet that's what he did. He went out into the woods, he made a deal with the devil, and then his album got huge.
Right. Crazy. There you go. And it's like, okay, just give me your soul. And he's like, sounds good.
I
Sounds
feel
good,
like
bud.
in some ways the industry in LA is a lot like.
Just like that. Yeah.
Thankful. I'm so dude. Like sometimes, dudes. Sometimes I'm like losing my mind over that. Like being a producer is hard. Getting the credit, getting the money, it's hard. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm so happy I'm not a singer songwriter that could be manipulated by a lot of labels and
Right.
kind of. Like I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be a pop star or anything, you know, and that's when you can get really messy.
Yes.
Really messy.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of examples of, people just getting eaten up by that world.
Taylor Swift's remaking her like entire first leg of her career because she doesn't own the masters to any. Like it's so messy. I
Right.
can't. At least I own my music.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
That's huge.
Dave
Oh,
Chappelle's
man.
going through a similar thing like a couple of months ago. You hear about
Yeah.
that? It was,
No.
So like Dave Chappelle, like when he was apparently like writing for the Chappelle Show and stuff, he signed a contract. You know, they would pay him like, and that was like that was like his big break. Right? Was like he had his own show, he had the Chappelle Show, right? And I don't know if they made changes to it in these recent couple months, but when he released this video a couple months ago, he was talking about like how he still doesn't get any money from the Chappelle Show. And they just put it on HBO or something like that. Like they put it on Netflix for a minute, but then he told that to Netflix and they took it down. So he was like, Netflix rocks, but fuck HBO. That because they just like put out his stuff and he's not making anything from it because that contract he wrote 20 plus years ago.
So
Yeah.
the good news about that is that Chappelle standing up for himself paid off.
Yes.
And he also, you can now watch the Chappelle Show on Netflix because they signed a contract with him. So they're paying him like every time someone watches it or whatever kind of income they make from it, he's getting a share. So now he's,
Hell yes.
So finally I can like guilt-free watch the Chappelle Show.
No guilty conscience.
And it's so good. It's
so good. It's so funny. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where when, especially for young artists, and this is something where I was at too, was I thought I was like racing against everyone. I thought I was constantly comparing myself. I was always seeing other people just doing so well. And it's like, oh man, what is that? And it's
Ain't
like,
that just the way?
right. And it came to the point, now I'm at a point now where it's, my journey is my journey. I'm doing shit that I like to do. I want to do the art that I want to create. And yeah, I have goals that I want to do, but time will tell when those goals come to fruition or if they even do. The point is that I'm trying to get there on my own terms. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, no. Oh,
Yeah.
go on. Yeah, no, but
yeah.
it's like I totally forgot where I was going with that.
right. We're getting deep, so just how it
Shit,
is.
we are getting deep.
Deep cuts. So
I had a session with Hollis, my good writer friend of mine, and she's done incredible things in her career, but like she realized lately that she just needed to make her own shit and things would start happening. Yes, I can't talk too much about it because nothing's released and nothing's for sure, but like
Sure.
she told me this crazy story about how she wrote with this one person and then a very big A-list artist like was like got in another session with the producer she was working with, and then now she wants to sing that song, and I'm like,
wow.
That's wonderful.
yay! And
cool.
it's she did that just for doing her own thing instead of like
So cool.
Yes.
and you get stuck in that loop of comparison
Yep.
all the time. It's so scary.
Yeah.
Was-
yeah.
Comparison
Really is like the, oh my gosh, sorry.
No, you're good, bud. You're good.
Comparison's like the thief of joy, right? Like, there's no reason to be comparing yourself. It's all about, you. And, I think it's that same deal of like, the more specific you are to yourself, to your heart, to your soul, to the moment, the more universally accepted it's going to be. I think Hollis probably just went through that with when it comes to, all right, I'm finally making my own stuff. And now she's got an A-lister coming in and singing the song and doing all this amazing stuff. And it's that whole thing. It's just like, make your own work. Make what is you. That's all you've got, you know?
So
that's amazing,
simple, isn't it?
Yeah. Dude, so that actually kind of makes me think. So Alda, like, of course, comparing yourself, will always have those things in our heads, and that's, you know, it's always a practice to not compare yourself, right? So I'm not saying that we're all masters of it yet, but was there a point for you that you might, like a moment, or was it of a significant amount of time that made you come to that realization of comparing myself to other people is not the answer?
What was I feel like there was one moment, like an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely blanking out right now, but yeah, no, because years and years and years and years, there's years and years and years and years and years of me writing on Fruity Loops, trying to sound like the next Dead Mouse,
right?
Madeon, or the next.
Yep.
Years, man. Like, how do they make that synth using that plugin? And how do they? I need to do that. I need to follow. There's I'm trying to think of like one. Because it's a process, you know. It's a process of trusting yourself and trusting your ear.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think there's that one. Because it might have happened a bit more strongly after my EP Love Memo. Because Love Memo was kind of just a purging diary moment for me, where I didn't even care about. Yes, I didn't care about sounding like anyone. I just had a lot of emotions to go through, and
right. Just
now it's out for the world to hear. You know, it's great. It's funny. The last song on that EP, I regret to this day so much. But it's okay, because like I get messages to this day of people being like, "Oh, I love that song. In conclusion, I resonated with so much," and I'm like,
yeah,
it's literally the most embarrassing thing I've ever wrote.
Glad someone liked it, right?
But someone liked it. My manager liked it a lot, which is why he wanted to push it as the single, and I was like, it's literally my diary. It is literally my diary, man. But there's a little ditty called Pompelmo that I released in 2018. 2018. And
time's a construct.
Yeah, and like I think with that one I was just like, fucking gun it, dude, and don't care about it. Like you can just make any noise you want to make and make any transition you want. You can have this whole B part that doesn't really even fit into the song, but it kind of works. Who cares?
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, you know, I don't need to compare myself anymore. Right. Because I like the stuff I'm making. And then I had a colleague at Cornish say, make the music you want to hear. Once. And I think it wasn't until I made Pompelmo where I was like, okay, all right, I get it now. 4 years later, but I get it now.
It's a journey, man.
I get it. And it was definitely like an aha moment, because that same week I made the song Two Colors, which to this day I still feel like is like there are things that I do want to change with the song, but like to this day I'm very proud of that piece. Okay, this is the music I'm kind of hearing in my head, but I'm still able to like kind of fuck around with it. Yeah.
That's sick. How do you? So is that usually what happens? You have it in your brain, and then it comes out, or are you like, oh, I found like, or are you just like at work, like, you know, like. All right, I have a more specific question for this one.
Go for it.
So like your tunes really combine a lot of like, you know, you've got a lot of like really catchy stuff in there. You've got hooks and like pop mechanisms. And there's also this like level of complexity and like the rhythm and the chords and the arrangement that are more like, it really is a step away from the 4-chord kind of like pop, you know, windmill that just keeps spinning. So when you mix those styles, like, you know, do you see being catchy as like a tool to grab people in, and then like, you know, like, oh, and then look at this amazing world of like of possibilities that music can be? Or is it just more of like a byproduct of like what's already in your head is catchy already and is already kind of poppy, and then just has this level of complexity under it?
Man, what even is catchy? What even is an earworm nowadays? You know, like, man, I think I love that question a lot. All of these have been really great, and I love shooting the shit with Cornish guys, but like it's for this reason.
Right, we love doing this shit with you. This has been a blast.
Thanks, man. Yes, but may she forever rest in peace. But Sophie is a crazy influence on me, and I think she kind of nailed it when it came to like combining pop music and crazy fucking electronic shit.
Sure.
And like the thing is, pop music is what's the word? It's not pretentious. It's not pretentious. And I think
yes.
I think being able to kind of like, and I had another I had a really good conversation. He used to go by the St. Clair. He's just John to me, but I used to work with him a lot on stage, and I used to just spaz out and play electric toms for him and cue stuff on Ableton. But
sure,
he said something good too, like you have to be kind of ahead of the curve, but you still need like those pop like pop mechanisms to like bring people in, but you kind of want to bring something a little new to the table. A lot of artists like me, Sophie, and others, like hyper pop has been thrown around a lot nowadays, but it's just keeping trying to keep things fresh when it's such an old and dated formula. That's a tricky line, man.
Yeah. Do you use that formula? Like, are you like plugging stuff into the like intro verse, chorus, bridge, chorus thing, or are you more letting it go?
Someone at Cornish said something terrifying to me once, and he said that he couldn't write without making the chords first, and that sent shivers up my fucking spine, man. I'm like, I gotta like see, because like my process is so not abstract. Like my process is whatever. Like some days I just kind of like fuck around with one noise for like 3 hours straight.
Sure.
But there are like, I have like 200 plus voice memos on my iPhone that I used to like during my day job, like I would have to step into my the cooler, the big cooler, and like and do whatever and sound like a complete fucking idiot. There are days where I'm like, hey, I have to.
Yeah.
And that's preserving ideas like that is probably one of the most important things I've learned. But pop music is so fascinating to me, and that's all I've been listening to too, which is like a lot of Carly Rae, a lot of Dua Lipa, like
Dua Lipa,
on it, and oh man, this could be like a 4-hour rant, my dude, because it's just like pop music can be stretched so much however you want, and I'm so I used to be kind of a hater of Billie Eilish. Like when she was like 15, she did a lot of the sad music. She had that collaboration with Khalid that I kind of liked, but like I wasn't really excited about her music. But I heard Bad Guy, and I was like,
oh, Bad Guy's so good.
Like my soul snatching, like, and that's because there's so much focus on timbre and texture in her music. There's a lot of focus, like what sounds have we not heard really yet a lot in this film. And with pop music especially, there's that complaint all the fucking time is that we've heard this before. And I think I guess what I'm doing nowadays is like, how do I subvert that? How do I just not I'm not doing it.
Right. Add to it.
And not only just for my music, for like anything I send out there, you know.
Yeah,
Can be a 3-hour long conversation, man.
Yeah.
Could be a very long conversation.
Yeah, we can. Well, that I mean, just talking about genres and pop music. It's interesting that you say that, because as someone that's more of a layman to music, I think of pop as something that. I mean, of course, you have some of these like really amazing pop stars, right? Like, I mean, you have the king of pop, you know, and Michael Jackson, all these, and then they of course Dua Lipa and all these other people that, you know, I've liked a couple of their songs, but on a general note, it's always also gotten this kind of taboo of, oh, it's just some pop music, you know, it's just like playing on the radio. So that's kind of like my stigma, I guess.
What makes money, though?
Say that again. Say that again.
It's what makes money.
Right. And that is something that is also interesting too, that there is something that's in your brain that hears those chords and that sound in a way that makes you be like, oh, like you go and listen to it. So to manipulate that, I don't know. It's just, I'm learning a lot about what your view on pop is and like where your view on where you fit into that. It's, I don't really have like a question. I was just like, this is interesting to me hearing you both talk about it in this way.
It's fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
Because especially now that I've like have been more open to collaboration. I used to be a hermit.
Sure.
I used to not. I get too nervous about what other people think about the way I write.
Right.
But what I've learned is that like the best pop music just comes from just total honest, open expression. And being able, again, it's like all that we've talked about what makes relatable, good art, you know, but like people, there's an immediate understanding when you hear a piece of music that resonates with you, you know? And I think when pop done right, that's the most that's at its most powerful form right there. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's all just bleep bloops for me.
It's all just bleep bloops. We're gonna put that
Just
in
ones and zeros. Just doop, 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 doop. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you ever think that you would want to go back to film composing?
It's funny you say that. Oh. I did have like a taste of it. Agro crab games. I met their staff at a PAX party I had a gig at. It was so funny. They told me that they sold out the place. It was like gonna be 200 people there, and I was like, oh, cool, this is gonna be a fun like corporate gig for once.
Right.
Yeah.
200 people RSVP'd.
Oh.
15 people came. It was like the last day of PAX. And like people were probably tired. So it was fine. Right. I got paid. Usually when it comes to a gig like that, I just like zero in on like the 3 people dancing and I'm like, let's have a good time.
Yep.
But the 3 people that I zoned in on are Go Crab Games, and they came up to me like 2 months later after another gig, and they're like, we specifically came here to see you, and I was like, oh, that's so nice. And they gave me their card, and they had a video game in the works called Going Under, and I ended up scoring the last scene for that.
Sick.
And that's, fucking lifelong dream.
That's amazing. Is it, so it's a video game, or is it okay.
Yes.
What platform is it?
I think all of them. It's on Steam for like PC, Switch, and everything. But it's a very cute game.
Fun though. That's amazing.
They're very funny. But I got to do that, and there's an opportunity that just came up recently that I really can't talk about that much. But it's that it's
sick.
Okay.
But I was able to do what I'm doing now for that, like I didn't need to like pull out the string library or call in a friend and be like, hey, can we socially distant record you playing the cello or something like that. That didn't need to happen. Like I was able to do like my weird pop shit,
right? You're able to score Chong the Nomad style, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that when you put it that way, I'm gonna get a little emotional. Because, you know, like, again, years and years at Cornish, it's like comparing, like, I'm not sure if you guys know Braxton Burks.
Braxton Burke. It's not coming up.
He was like 2 years, graduated like 2 years before us. Is that the right?
Okay.
Yeah, but he's just an incredible composer. Does a lot of film and video game stuff. It's really hard not to compare yourself to someone that just has such a good ear and a lot of experience. But, you know, like, if you just kind of stay in your own lane, doing your own thing, you get there yourself. You know? And you get to do your own thing. You don't need to, like, what's the word? You don't need to compromise.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to compromise your own art.
Yeah.
It's just, and then people kind of resonate with what you do.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So
hope
when
it comes to scoring an entire film, hopefully someday, but maybe when I'm a little bit more sure of myself.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, then
That
it's
is
like,
a
I just have
endeavor.
90 minutes of material and like 3 months or a month, depending on the kind of project, to
Yeah.
Whoa.
make it
A
work.
month sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I only had, like, for this other thing, still, I'm trying really hard not to reveal too much of it because of
No, don't.
But, like,
Understand.
I had, like,
But also do.
4
I'm
minutes.
just kidding.
I know. But, yeah, no, I had, like, 4 minutes, like, a song, basically.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
Well, it's exciting.
thanks, guys, yeah. I'm fuck this quarantine, but, like, for the fact
Yeah.
that my manager, big ups to Austin Santiago, too. Like, just having someone that believes in me, like that. And reaching out constantly to other people and just looking out for me. I've been able to miraculously make it work. So
That's wonderful.
very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you
It's
and Austin come to be working together?
Love telling that story. So that beat battle I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
that it was actually the same week as my senior recital, guys. Like,
Ooh, okay.
Whoa.
and
a
like
lot going on.
it's funny because I look back on that week, like I look at my Instagram post about that week, and it's like, this is the most stressful week of my life, and I'm like, oh honey, honey, you got a big storm coming. You're gonna shit your pants. No,
Yeah.
like it,
You thought.
yo, it keeps going from there, you know.
yeah.
But like that at the time I was like, this is the accumulation of everything I've ever worked for. It was this one beat battle, and here's the thing: Songo and Ryan Lewis were judging it.
Ooh,
So you
okay.
take Ryan Lewis, like, I love the heist, I love the Versus EP.
Yeah.
Yes, whatever Macklemore's reputation is now. When I was 15, that was like Ryan Lewis and him. Like I
It's
bowed
incredible.
down. Like
of course.
that, especially Ryan Lewis and his production work. Like,
Right. Right.
great ears. And Songo, that's someone now that I worship like a lot. Like
Okay.
that's his production work is something that I'm so together judging a beat battle. I saw the advertisement for it for
Yeah.
submissions at Nelly at the cafe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was just on my laptop, and I was like, and the due date was in 2 days, and so I stayed up all night that night just making my submission. Long story, just to condense the story, like I got in. I thought I was gonna kill it. Like I was looking up all the other producers, doing my research.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like,
sizing up
okay,
the
if I can
competition.
make my shit sound like this and better than this, I got this.
Boom,
And
no problem.
The prize was $500 and a spot at Upstream Festival. And that was
That's
the
beautiful.
summer before that. I was like, man, I wish I was well known enough to be in this festival, but I'm not. I'm just a person with 10 SoundCloud followers, just trying to do her own thing.
Sure.
And so I got in. I lost in the second round.
Okay. Yep.
Fucking God. I was so crushed. Like I was trying really hard not to cry, but I was like, I thought this was it for me. Like I thought, but Austin was one of the organizers for the event.
Okay.
One of the head organizers, and he came up to me before, and he was like, "Hey, you're the only female," and I'm still the only female from 3 years.
What?
I'm the only person that is not a male identifying cis person. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
But that's the thing, though. That's another thing. Austin was just like, "Yo, I want to get to know this person," and I was really downtrodden after the entire event. And he came up to me. He's like, maybe I can get you on stage at Upstream. And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. He's like, no. I'm one of the curators for one of the stages. And later that night, he emailed me saying, "Hey, I got you the 7 p.m. time slot for the Delicatus stage," which was a deli in the middle. But I cried.
Yeah.
I fucking sobbed. I was so happy. And then
that's
2 months later, we met at Cafe Vita, and he was like, "I want to support you." And it's been that. The rest is kind of history. Still going on, but I was really intimidated because I was like, I don't know who's up, but I did a lot of research on Austin Santiago.
Sure.
And
Yeah, you gotta.
there's a fucking video on YouTube bringing up Macklemore again of Macklemore calling him the king of Bellingham.
Whoa. That's
at
awesome.
Wild Buffalo in Bellingham. And like he's such a supporter and for local music, and so I just kind of took the plunge with him. And it's so shaky when you're a new artist. It's so shaky. Like, you don't know how much you should be giving to this guy, contracts, blah, 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 blah. But he made it really streamlined and easy for me starting out at first. And to this day, it's worked.
That's sick.
That's fantastic.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I thought that I was done. And it's funny, from that beat battle, I was like, maybe some other day, but not today. But it's funny because I did one more beat battle after that, and I got second place.
There you go.
And then that's when I was like, exactly. And then I was like, you know what? I don't need the validation anymore.
No.
This is my 8 Mile moment. I'm going to walk away.
Yes, dude.
While Lose Yourself plays in the background. Fucking Eminem, but like that movie hits.
Right.
Well, and it goes to show like the beauty of like, just putting yourself out there. Like, and if you had, not gone to that beat battle or thought, oh, like maybe I don't deserve whatever crazy thoughts go into people's brains that keep them from going out and showing their art to people. Like, it's being in those situations and having those chance interactions like you've had with Austin that really lead people on whatever road they're going.
One last thing I want to say about it, though, too, it's funny because it's just, I feel really bad. I did like a small panel thing at Cary Hall right before the pandemic about, and it was for some music students for the More Theater program. It's a music program for youth.
Sick.
Really great. At the end, they get to perform at the More, and
that's lovely.
Pretty cool.
Their original music, and I had no idea what to say to these kids because they're doing everything they fucking can. It's just a hard, cutthroat world out there. Like, yes, once you're in it, like it's a lot more. It's more daisies than you kind of assume. It's like people are more lax than you think, but like getting in there, like getting your shit out there and. Like exposing your most vulnerable art to people, like, and getting into these spaces, it's frustrating. And I was just like, well, you need to spend 2 months on your release, or as much time as you spend on the music, you need to spend on your release. And people are like, we're doing that.
Right. Right.
So I was like, oh shit, I don't know what to tell y'all then. Cause like I got very, very lucky with Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Very lucky.
Well, that is
fucking
a funny thing. Yeah. You say luck, and that makes me think of, I think it's this one quote from this like Roman dude, but it's luck is when opportunity and it's, oh gosh, what is that quote? It's like when luck is when opportunity and preparation meet together, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. And so it's not like some random thing either. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes people say that, or they like to put that on someone to make excuse for their success or something like that. And sometimes I guess, sure, like some things just fall out of the blue. This is a random fucking universe we're living in. But for the most part, it's if I'm constantly shaping my art, my craft, I'm constantly there. As soon as that one opportunity rises up, boom, it's a matter of taking it and seizing it and look where you go. I think that your story definitely is a testament to that, you know?
Thank you. And that's also another it's a lot of obvious advice, you know? But you really just want to drive it home to people that the second you get a chance to show off, gun it, man.
Gun it.
Gun it. Like,
don't half-ass it.
For me, I had a lot of DJ sets where I was performing to like 11 people, but I was like, that's 11 more people that I can like make a fan of me.
Yes.
And
yes.
you just gotta take it by the neck and
yeah, absolutely. That's right. Absolutely.
You know?
My favorite.
Keep going.
My favorite concert I ever went to, it was one of those. Like, this big kind of biggish name at the time, rising band came into town, and we opened for them. But by the time they came onto the stage, no one was there. Everyone that had come had left because it was already like 10 p.m. It was like a Wednesday at a dive bar, right? So it wasn't the best time for them to be going on stage, but they go on. And, you know, we're still there. And there's like, you know, maybe 10 other people there. And they perform as if they're at like this giant arena. They're literally like doing dangerous stunts on stage. They're like swinging from the actual rafters because it's like a screamo band, you know, and they're just like going at it. Like, and every person in the bar, like even the bartender was just like fucking like bouncing with it. You know, and then like from there it was like amazing because it's like, okay, for me they performed for 11 people, and then they went on a tour with Yellow Card, and then they went on like a European tour, and then their album blew up, and it was like, oh, like, okay, so like that's what I have, like as an artist, like that's what I have to do, like no matter what, no matter who, like I have to be pedal to the metal all the time if that opportunity is there. And so to me I was like, oh, that's the bar, that's what it takes. Finally I'm able to see like that's the road you have to follow. It's like, put yourself out there, and for the people that come, do a great job. And that's it.
Yeah, it's exhausting, but it's what has to be done. So a good example of that is just, there's a lot of crazy good producers with like the stage charisma of a newt, but their music is already really good and popular. I'm not going to name names, but like their music's already crazy enough that like people are going to lose their mind anyway like they're gonna fucking lose it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But when people like me or like smaller artists, like you got something to prove, man. Like if I don't have crazy good visuals. Like my set is kind of just this weird DJ live hybrid thing. I don't even know what it is half the time.
Sure.
But what I'm gonna try to sell is that I'm a crazy motherfucker on stage, and I know that I'm a crazy motherfucker. So, and I know I can get like 3 people in the room
to just like
breathless from dancing.
Dude, like,
that's all I care about.
Oh man, you're so great. I love watching you perform. I love it.
A friend of mine said your Leo jumps out when you're on stage, and I'm like, yeah.
This is something that I was interested. I was just so excited about asking this question. Is because I love performing. I love, I'm an actor, right? So it's a lot of where I come from is like through that lens, and so. You're literally coming on.
Quick, my sister has like the biggest crush on you. Remember when you did that thing with Isaac and Andrew, like freshman year?
Yeah, the Paulo Coelho doing The Alchemist, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you were incredible.
Oh, thank you, Obi. Yeah, that was a fun ass project to do. That was really cool.
That was the highlight of that entire
Dude, that book, like I read that every year now. That's like a part of me now, you know?
I love that.
It's so good. It's just so good. But when you're going on stage to perform, I always, for me, it's like I'm playing different characters, right? So it kind of makes sense. I like go into a different mode, and it sounds like, do you go into a different mode because you're going on as Chong the Nomad, or do you still feel like Alda? Do you feel like you're a different persona?
I joke around, and I told you guys already, like I black out for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then I come back.
Yeah.
I guess so when I'm crunk, when I've had like 5 shots,
Yep.
there's another part of me that comes out. Like, I'm just like, all of a sudden, I want to be everyone's friend and I want to boogie like I've never boogied before.
Yeah.
So take that persona and sober, but like way more anxious and nervous, and like me just trying to dance that out of me. Take that. That's kind of what it's like for me on stage. Wow. It's funny because like I have way too much anxiety. Even for like that Zoom thing I did the other day, like I was hucking dry heaving the entire day. But the second I start, that disappears. All of it's gone, and it's just like, okay, now I just want to have fun.
Yeah,
that's. Oh,
it's funny how it's so much worse before you do the thing, like what you tell yourself in your head. It's
bullshit.
It's crazy, right? It's so
bullshit.
I mean, it must be a part of our like biology of like, we don't want to put ourselves out there. You know, it's scary to put ourselves out there. There's another actor, like Henry Fonda, like back in the day, whenever he would go on stage to do a show, right before doing that, he would puke in the trash can. Every night.
I puked before my Capitol Block set.
Right.
Capitol Block party set. Yeah. I chucked in the bushes.
Right. And then you go up there and then you have a great fucking time.
Yeah. Again, and not to like myself, but then the stranger wrote about it and compared me to fucking Janet Jackson. And I was like,
wow. Hell yeah.
I don't know what I was doing on stage. I hip thrusted so much that like I was so out of breath during the little harmonica ditty that I do that I was pretty sure it just sounded like garbled frog noises, but it worked.
So the gargled frog noises of Janet Jackson, though. You know, it's
there we go. But that's the thing that it's just I really, really like performing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's just a hard truth for me because I always wanted to just DJ. I never wanted to touch the microphone. Fuck that. Fuck speaking. But I can't imagine how y'all actually like assume another person on stage. I'm like, that I don't understand that. Yeah. I don't know how that's possible.
Right. It's a bit of a different process. Like I'd say, like, you know, having done a little bit of both, like there is a certain mode you go into where you like kind of elevate yourself and just like perform your music as well as you can, dance it out and like be with the audience, right? That's all you can do. And but then like theater, it like just depends what character you're playing. Like to prep for going on stage to play music, usually I'm like, you know, I'll take a shot, I'll like get pumped and then like go on like and just like pray that it goes well. But then like for theater, it's like, okay, like if I'm playing a character who's like maybe really inward and depressed, like instead of like pumping myself up to go on stage, like I'm like, you know, in the back, like trying to be as like, you know, that's morose so as I can be, or if it's, you know, an opposite. So it's like it's definitely a bit of a separate thing, but the part of it that is the same is that once you're on that stage and doing those actions that you've planned on doing, there is that total freedom that comes with like, I'm in front of an audience. This is a live performance. This
anything can happen.
That like the internal feeling is nearly exactly the same. Of like, it's like purifying. It feels amazing. At the end of it, you feel good. Yeah. But it's just the preparation is a lot different.
And the blackout, like that's
a thing.
That's a thing for us too.
100%.
When you are really in it and you're doing the whole show, when you leave the show and you're like, I don't even remember what I did up there. That's when you know that you've reached that level, where you reach that plane with your scene partners and the audience, that y'all like experienced, you were just fully present, right? And that's what we're all trying to do when we get into these big gathering situations. It's like, forget the past, forget thinking about the future. Where are we right now? Let's just have an experience together.
Being present. Yep. And it's funny because that's also a thing you really gotta learn when it comes to like performing art. Like, I would say that it's so important because like during my first gigs, I would just yell a lot of incoherent shit into the mic, and and people, it's fun because I have a lot of nervous energy to expel. But unfortunately, it was right before the pandemic where I feel like I got a hold of myself on stage finally. But the blackout still happens, but like being able to just embrace everything and embrace your talent and be present and know who you are on stage. And that's fucking powerful.
It is.
Absolutely.
I wish that for everybody alive to have some kind of experience like that.
Something like that, right? Right? Yeah, it's a crazy high.
Yeah,
the best.
It's like I've done
it too. That's been the biggest drought, I'd say, is that performance high. Not having that is like, it's crushing. It's really crushing.
It gives you creative inspiration too. Like,
yeah.
That's like I used to make just a lot of I told people recently like 70 to 80% of what I write is just trying to make like festival bangers. Like what's gonna make people fucking lose it, right? And that's what I focused on for a while. Now I get to focus on my singer-songwriter shit and like make beats for other people, and that's great and all, but like that's what fed me.
Right.
That's what kept the drive going, but yeah.
It'll be there again. That's the thing. Is like
we
all this stuff. We just hold on to it, and soon it will be there for us again. So, exactly. Yeah, let's.
This actually kind of leading me into this is one of our kind of looking into the future kind of stuff, because we do. This is what Nick is saying. We believe that we're going to come back to it. We've kind of talked a little bit about like the immediate, like the overcorrection that's going to happen, of course. But from your side of things, like what do you kind of foresee the art world going after we've had this experience of like pandemic life? Now we've known what it's like to be totally separated from each other. Now we're like really close to each other. I don't know. Do you have any guesses? What's your kind of best guess on what's to happen next? Right. Super easy question. Just a softball.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a tough fucking question because like again, we're the last ones to come back basically. And I don't know when that's gonna be, and I don't know what it's gonna look like and how comfortable I'd actually feel.
Right.
Going back into it, but I could say, from personal experience, I can say that the respect I had for tech and people that work tech was already at like the highest ceiling I could possibly imagine, because without those people nothing will work. No one will hear me. That ceiling has skyrocketed to unknown fucking regions, because like I hate doing it all by myself. I can't. I'm so lucky that I have a very supportive partner who's like already familiar with some of the shit that I have to do. But like I'm speechless right now because it's just so. I'm hoping that the respect for tech people, because I hear horror stories from them. Like they're like, oh, this fucking rock diva treated me like shit the other day, and like, well, and I'm like, that's like, how people are like, why would you be mean to a server when they're the ones that handle your they could literally kill you. Yeah. So it's I'm just hoping that respect for that would already skyrocket, because artists we hate doing that shit for a reason. We're focusing on all the other stuff. Like I hate that shit so much, but so that's a hope. But man, I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had a conversation about this the other day and for a different thing, and I was just like stumbling over my words so much because I was just like, I'm already the type of person that I can't. I realized lately that I don't like daydreaming about the future, because when you do that, you're setting like these expectations, kind of, and most of the time in life, things happen.
Yeah.
When things happen like the way you want to happen, like it's the exact opposite of what you have initially thought it was gonna happen. You know, like I.
Tough to say. Yeah,
So
fair. That's a good answer, honestly.
It really is.
Who really knows? I can only hope that it's just faster than I expected. Like anything. That's the only thing.
Yeah. I think we all can agree with that. I think we all can agree with that.
Let's get this thing going. Let's get maybe not back to the old normal, but to a new one. Let's get there.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's right.
I like that.
There you go. Dude, Chong the Nomad.
It's going to be weird, though. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I just have a feeling, because, like, I love going to concerts. I love going to, like, EDM shit. But I feel like that squishiness that you feel whenever you're at a really packed concert, I'm kind of hoping that people are going to, like, you know, just leave some room. Like,
that's fair.
Just an inch. Just an inch. I don't need to be like...
That could be a nice change. That could be a nice change.
Like,
I just want to breathe like a little bit of fresh air, just a small amount.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man.
Well, amen to that. Yeah. Well, Alda, it was such a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you.
It was amazing. Thank you very much.
It was so awesome. Is there any places to let people know how to find you? Things like that?
I'm on the Chong the Nomad on pretty much every social. Chong Makes Music on Twitter. You can find me there.
Yeah, sick. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Peace out. Thank you.